Now, they've fled mass violence, including arson and sexual assaults at the hands of the military in Myanmar in 2017. Today, more than 1 million Muslim Rohingya live in dire conditions in the world's largest refugee camp in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh. But international aid to support them is shrinking, and food vouchers have been cut in half, leaving many families surviving on barely $6 a month. The humanitarian crisis has stretched public services in Bangladesh to the limit and is spilling into the economy. Interim government leader Mohamed Yunus now says his country is running out of resources to support Rohingya refugees. He's urging the international community to step in and to work on a roadmap for the Rohingyas' voluntary return to Myanmar. Tanvir Chowdhury reports from Cox's Bazar.
More than 1 million Rohingya refugees live here in Cox's Bazar. It's the largest refugee camp in the world, but also one of the most densely populated. They came over the past 8 years fleeing ethnic-based violence in Myanmar. At this conference, the government says there has been a big impact on Bangladesh.
The impact on our economy, resources, environment, and ecosystem, society, and governance have been huge. I thank our host community and the people of Bangladesh for their wholehearted support and enormous sacrifices for the Rohingyas.
It's estimated the refugees need cost around $1.2 billion a year. But since 2025, aid has begun to dry up as global development funding has been slashed, particularly by the US, which supplied 55% of the humanitarian response in Bangladesh. This is problematic for Bangladesh.
This is a very concerning situation, and particularly for Bangladesh, where we already have limited fiscal space for the country, for meeting the priorities of the country. And now, with the reduction of aid, this is going to be a huge strain on Bangladesh economy.
As donor support shrinks for the displaced Rohingya, the Bangladesh government may be forced to divert its own limited resources to provide health, security, and other basic services for the refugees. With the global funding at crisis point, essential services for Rohingya refugees are at risk, leaving the needs of both new arrivals and existing populations unmet. Many refugees already face a reduction in the aid they receive, with some getting half their previous monthly budget, been forced to live on pulses and rice. Meanwhile, as violence continues, more people are reportedly arriving.
We are such an oppressed community. We are asking the world for justice. The government of Myanmar tortured us. If Bangladesh wants to send us back to Myanmar, we want equal rights like other ethnic groups.
That's why the government is using this conference to appeal to the international community and put the plight of the Rohingya back in the spotlight. In September, there will be another high-level conference on the sideline of the United Nations General Assembly. But more aid can come soon enough for Bangladesh's strained budget and the people who are suffering. Tanvir Chowdhury, Al Jazeera, for Counting the Cost, Cox's Bazar.
Mr. Fizur Rahman is an economist and distinguished fellow at the Centre for Policy Dialogue. He joins us from Dhaka now. Thank you for giving us your time. So have we hit a breaking point in the Rohingya crisis?
Thank you for having me. I think it is going towards that. The Rohingya refugees, who in Bangladesh we call them forcefully displaced Myanmar nationals. They are there, in fact, since 1978, when about 2,000 Rohingyas came to Bangladesh. Then the second influx was in 91, 92, when another 250,000 came. And the largest influx was in 2017, when 750,000 Rohingyas came. And Bangladesh gave them a place on a humanitarian grounds. So there are almost 1.3 million Rohingyas now. And obviously there is now, after so many years, there is an aid fatigue also. And Bangladesh also is becoming desperate because it is bearing the brunt of the people, and we are trying to do the best, but obviously it's now becoming unbearable also because as I said, the supply of foreign support is also coming down. There is a problem that's arising from that. And there is also discontent in the camps, and there is also discontent outside of the camps with regard to the local people.
This is clearly a devastating situation for the Rohingya people. But we also have now the Bangladesh interim leader saying that his country can no longer afford to bear the brunt of the biggest refugee camp in the world. A huge economic strain over 8 years. How devastating has this been for Bangladesh's economy?
You see, Bangladesh economy obviously is a large economy. We are a $460 billion economy. But in a country where poverty is so rampant, where there are so many people living below the poverty line, and also in the locality where the Rohingyas are, obviously it's a big strain on the local economy as well. Bangladesh's own expenditure on health, education, and sanitation is not very much because of our low revenue GDP ratio of about only 8%. So obviously, any additional money that is being spent on Rohingyas, it creates a lot of strain on the budgetary allocations and the public service delivery at the local level. So there is obviously a growing concern, if I would say maybe discontent also in the locality. When there is less support coming.
International aid decline there. And I want to ask you that with that declining, is it foreseeable for Bangladesh to continue without more help?
It is very difficult, in fact, and that's why Professor Yunus, the head of the interim government of Bangladesh, said that we cannot really wait for the last Rohingyas to be driven to Bangladesh from Rakhine. So that's a clear signal that Bangladesh is really reaching a breaking point. And the Cox's Bazar event that took place during 24th and 26th August, there were 7 points that he mentioned. And he said that there has to be more aid coming. There has to be more global initiative in order that they can return to their homeland in safety and under guarantee of safety. So I think that Bangladesh is now reaching a point where if more aid is not coming, and if tangible and visible initiatives are not taken by the global community, it will be not only a strain on Bangladesh, but it will be a problem to sustain as it is.
And we have Bangladesh interim leader speaking of working with the international community to draw up a plan to allow the Rohingya people to return home. How realistic is that, though?
Well, there will be a UN General Assembly meeting on 30th of September. On 6th of December in Doha, in Qatar, there will be another international meeting in order to discuss how the Rohingyas can go back in safety to their homeland. But, in the past, some of the initiatives that were taken and some of the Rohingyas were supposed to go back, but many of them have also returned. So the global community must take more responsibility. In the 7 points that Professor Yunus mentioned, one point was that ASEAN also needs to come forward in a more strong way to put pressure on the Myanmarese authorities in order that they take concrete steps, not just just words, as we have been experiencing over the last few years. So now is the time for more concrete tangible, visible actions so that they can go back. And I think that China, India, they also, I think, should play a more proactive role. My own thinking is that if there is a safe zone in Rakhine under UN supervision, then the Rohingyas will also be willing to go back. They want to go back, but they, of course, they need a guarantee of safety and security once they are back.
What is life like for the Rohingya people? We've heard that the World Food Programme is going to need to halve their food vouchers from $12 to $6 a month. What can they survive on this? What is life like for them?
Obviously, you see, $12 a month for a person, you can very well understand what this can buy, even in the context of the purchasing power in Bangladesh. Obviously, very little, but that's what was the budget. But now, if it comes down from $12 to $6, obviously, people will suffer. We know that, for example, half the 1.3 million people who are there, they are children, half of them. Every year, about 30,000 babies are born. And surveys indicate that about 40% of the children, they suffer from stunting and wasting, and also lack of nutrition. Obviously is having its adverse impact on all the people, not only children, but on all the people. And also I think about the other needs of the children, education, for example. So all these are creating a situation where, of course, nutrition comes first, but that will also be put under question if it comes down to that. We are hoping that the 11 countries which came up with a declaration at the conference, that they will also come up with money, and World Food Programme and the local NGOs who are working over there, they have enough funds and in-kind support for these people. Otherwise, it is already a humanitarian crisis, but it will accentuate further.
Mustafizur Rahman, an important conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.